What if I told you the single most powerful tool for saving wildlife wasn't about donations or new national parks, but about taxes? I know, it sounds a little crazy, right? But stick with me, because today we're diving into a really radical idea that by simply fixing our tax system, we could kickstart nature's recovery at almost no cost to anyone.
This quote right here, it just cuts straight to the heart of the matter. The argument isn't that we need to find more money for conservation. Nope. It's that we need to stop paying people to destroy nature in the first place. It's a total flip in how we think about the problem.
So how on earth did we get here? Well, the core problem is that our economic system is completely out of whack with the natural world. It's somehow evolved to a point where protecting nature is expensive, but destroying it can actually be profitable. Let's dig into why that is.
It's a big question, I know, but it's one we absolutely have to ask. Because right now, all the incentives are completely backwards. Our system accidentally encourages the very behaviors that harm the ecosystems we all depend on, while at the same time, it penalizes the activities that create real, lasting value.
Okay, so here's how this plays out in the real world. We load up taxes on all the things we want more of, right? Like jobs, income, successful businesses. Then, at the same time, we're handing out subsidies that actually encourage farming on really poor quality land that would otherwise be a perfect home for wildlife. And if that wasn't enough, our tax system often encourages speculators to just sit on empty land, doing nothing, which drives up prices and pushes new development further out into green spaces. So the big takeaway here is pretty stark. We are actively paying for the destruction of nature.
So, what's the solution? Well, it's a complete 180, a total U-turn in our thinking. The whole idea is to shift the tax burden off of productive things, what we make, and put it squarely onto the value we take from nature and the costs we impose on society, what we take.
And the cornerstone of this big idea is something called a land value tax, or LVT. Now, this is really important. It's not a tax on your house or your business or anything you build. It's a tax on the value of the location itself, that value that's created by the community, by public investment, by nearby nature. Just think of it like paying rent for the bare patch of ground before anything was ever built on it.
So, how would it work? It's actually a pretty simple three-step process. First, you figure out the rental value of just the land itself. Second, you apply a tax to that value. And third, and this is the absolute key, you use that money to slash or even get rid of the taxes that drag our economy down, like taxes on your income or on sales.
This chart really lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? You can see the big switch. We'd go from taxing things like your salary to taxing the value of land, from taxing a company's profits to taxing its pollution. The whole point is to stop punishing productive work and start charging for the use of shared resources and the messes people make. If this all sounds a little abstract, just think about the plastic bag tax. Remember that? We saw people's behavior change almost overnight, all because of one tiny economic signal. This is that same powerful idea, taxing what you want to see less of, but applied to the biggest challenges we face.
Okay, so we've got the economic shift down, but I know what you're thinking. How does taxing a piece of land actually help bring back wildlife? Well, it all comes down to one really clever economic idea. It's a concept called the margin of production. It sounds a bit technical, but it's super simple. It's just the tipping point. For a farmer, it's that one piece of land, that steep rocky hill or that soggy field, where it just costs more to farm it than you'd ever make back. That's the margin.
Now here's the problem. Our current system of farm subsidies completely messes with that natural margin. It makes it profitable for farmers to work that poor quality land anyway. So the very land that should be left as a haven for wildlife gets plowed up for hardly any economic gain, and it's all funded by us, the taxpayers.
This is where the magic really happens. A land value tax gets rid of those twisted incentives. All of a sudden, it makes no economic sense to struggle with that unproductive land. The margin of production naturally pulls back to the good, fertile soil. And that marginal land, it just gets left alone. It passively rewilds, and ecosystems come back, automatically, without a single cent of new government spending.
And the amazing thing is, the benefits don't just stop with the birds and the bees. This one tax shift could set off a whole cascade of positive effects through our entire society, tackling some of our toughest problems. I mean, think about it. An LVT makes it expensive to just sit on valuable empty land, so it would totally crush speculation. That would push empty lots in our cities back into use, cut down on urban sprawl, and make housing more affordable. Plus, by taking the tax off people's paychecks, You'd be directly boosting job creation. It's a win-win.
And let's be clear, letting nature return is an economic benefit in itself. It creates real value. Just look at this example. Reintroducing beavers in just one part of Scotland was projected to bring in an extra £2 million a year in tourism. Nature pays dividends.
What's so powerful here is that this core principle, taxing what we take, not what we make, can be used everywhere. A carbon tax at the oil well or coal mine makes it more profitable to leave fossil fuels in the ground. Charging for pollution cleans up our rivers. Auctioning fishing rights helps prevent overfishing. It's the same smart, simple logic applied over and over.
So when you boil it all down, this whole conversation comes back to a fundamental choice about our values. What kind of activities do we, as a society, actually want to reward? And what do we want to discourage? It really is a question of fairness and how we design our economy.
This quote from the economist Henry George, way back in the 19th century, just nails the ethical heart of this whole thing. He's arguing that what we owe to society shouldn't be based on our own hard work, but on the benefit we get from having exclusive control over a piece of our shared inheritance, the Earth itself.
And that really leaves us with this final, powerful question to think about. It completely flips our normal way of thinking on its head, but it forces us to decide what the foundation of a fair and sustainable economy should be. Should we tax what people put into society or what they take out?